Hi, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you a very quick run through of ThriveCart. ThriveCart is a great tool if you want to sell a virtual, digital, or a real tangible product. And the reason it's so great is because you set up a landing page, you define all the steps, it integrates wonderfully with other tools. You can give coupons, you can have multiple types of payments, and the landing page designer is very easy and intuitive to use. So I'm going to do this very quickly. This isn't a full course or whatever, but it is going to show you how you can do this simply. So this is my products page. I currently have 2 live products. Later on, you'll see you can create upsells and downsells, and you can A/B test and create coupons. We'll get to that later. But first, let's just start with a new product. So we'll click on Create a Product. And this is, you can decide if it's a digital or a physical product. This is going to be a digital product. This could be a template that you want to sell, a course, or coaching calls, or whatever. Seriously, you can do whatever you want with this. It's a really great tool, and it works really, really well. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create a product. So let's just call this test product. And this is a description for you. This isn't something that you can, that users will see. And this can be very handy if you want to create duplicates, but with minor changes. So you can create the description with the change here. But we're just going to call this test product. This is your checkout page URL. Now, your checkout page will have the full URL that you have, but this is the slug. This is fine, test product. What you'll notice here, and this I really love, is you have disabled test mode and live. By default, it's on test mode, and that means that you can do whatever you want, even pay, but you're not going to actually have to pay. It does show you the run through of what it will look like if you're going through Google Pay or PayPal or Stripe. It will show you a splash screen that they have that this is where the customer will pay, but de facto you're not paying. So this really gives you the feeling of what the user will go through. And then once you're ready, you just flip it to live. So now we're going to go on to pricing. So you have multiple currencies that you can sell, but you have to sell in one currency per product, meaning you can't have multiple currencies on a page. So our product, we're going to sell this for $29, whatever we want, right? But you can also set a subscription. You can do split pay. You can do pay your own price. So split pay is payments. Pay your own price. Basically, the user can click whatever they want. This is good if you want to create a general payment page. It can actually work really well. So there are multiple uses for this, and it depends on the country you're coming from. But basically, the sky's the limit with what you can do here. If you want to give your users some sort of trial, this is where you can do it. I've seen some interesting versions of how people give a 1-day trial. They give 7 days, right? And then your customer will only be charged after the trial period. See, so let's do a 1-day period. So it's 1 day after their trial period ends. So the one tip I can give is, and you probably know this, but before your your customer trial period ends, usually you'll want to send them some sort of email to remind them, but that's just whatever. You can set a limit. This is really useful if you have only 10 spots in the course, or if you only have, like, your stock is only 10, whatever. So this is really useful. You give a name. So one-time payment of $29 is for me, but you could do this whatever you want, and then you can multiple purchases if you want somebody to be able to buy more than one at once. Next. So if you have a pro account, you can have calculate tax automatically, and this is really critical for people who are working internationally. One tip that I can give you if you don't have a pro account and you want to calculate the tax automatically is to export the data from here to a Google Sheet, do the tax calculation on a Google Sheet, and then push that to your finance tool with Xero or QuickBooks or whatever, your billing tool. And that will automatically calculate the sales tax for you, and you can customize your invoice, which we're not going to do right now. So the next, if we want to set a bump offer, probably know what a bump offer is, so not really going to go into that. But like you see, you define all of this as well. Is it a special product? Is it a digital product? Is it a physical product? Is it automatically added, or do they have to remove it, or do they have to add it themselves? So let's not create a bump offer here. And payment processing. Now, there are 5 payment processing options: Stripe, Authorize.net, PayPal, Apple Pay, and Google Pay. So I'm just going to put my PayPal here, but in theory, you could have any of these. Very easy to set up. Whatever you have, the more options you have, the easier it will be for your clients or customers to buy. The next step is what happens after their purchase. So you're going to need a URL or an email that they can go to in case they have an issue. So for example, I could do that's my contact page. So if they have a problem, they could just do that. And then display the total, send them to a URL, or add them to a membership site. Membership sites such as Teachable, soon to be Thinkific. It's not connected yet, but it soon will be. And other membership sites that you have, especially if you have a WordPress site. These are really, really useful, but they usually require an advanced account on your membership account as well. So just be aware of that. And this is shipping. I'm not doing shipping today. Oh, did I not do this? Oh, okay. HTTPS. Okay, so now we're getting to the fun part. This is the checkout page. This is what your page will look like. Now, there are 4 types of checkout pages that you can create here. Standard, as you can see in the layout here, this is the layout page, and then on the right, there's data about the product. The sales cart page, which is a regular landing page. Embedded, which is basically just embedding the form onto a website page of your own. If you saw before when we started, I had 2 products there. One of my products is using an embeddable page, and that is the sequence, my Simplify Your Workflow sequence, because I wanted the page to be on my website where people were signing up to the newsletter, and if they just wanted the PDF, they could buy it through there. And then I just embedded this form. And finally, a pop-up, which is also useful at times. And you can use this pop-up. You get the code. You can use this pop-up on your website. It's really, really easy to use. So we're going to just do a regular sales cart. And now we go to launch the editor, or we can use a design from a different project, or we can just import the design from elsewhere. So I'm just going to launch the editor. The beauty of this is once you set this up once, the structure of your page, if you like the structure and you want to reuse it later, you can just by doing that, using it from a different product. Okay, so the way that this page is built is the page options, meaning the different options for each element, is on the left. The page itself is in the center, and the elements are on the right. So you can see you have cart setup, product info box, heading, subheading, text, video, testimonial, divider, bullet points, countdown timer, buy link, which is like a button, just pushes you to the form, guarantee seals, FAQs, customer, HTML, etc. This is drag and drop. You drag it, you drop it. You can define your cart flow as multi-step or single step. I'm personally a fan of the single step, but that's, each to their own. And this is the basic stuff that you can't delete. This is contact information that you want to collect about the client, and then payment information. For me, it's PayPal, and the complete order, which is the pay button. This is the product itself, and this is how much they pay. These are basics. This one you can delete, actually, if you want, but I'm going to move this up later. So I'm going to put a heading on the page. Assuming, there we go. Heading. Now, when you go to contact information, see here, customer name. I want first and last name, so I enable that. You can put the name field before, you can put the name field after, whichever you prefer. Do you want to collect their company name? You can have it optional or required. Do you want their phone number? Optional or required. And then you can add custom fields. So basically, this is a form that you can create however you want. You can show terms and condition. You can show opt-in. So these are 2 checkboxes that you can do, and you can just edit those to have them however you want. The beauty of these is that if you use these fields, you can later define, when we review the integrations, you'll be able to define if this checkbox was ticked, do X. If it wasn't ticked, do Y. I'm just going to do done here. This is, again, we're back on the page definition, so I like my page background to be white, but let's just do, so you can see what it looks like. You can really change whatever this looks like. So with white, I actually get everything blends in. Different color. Just looks however you want it to look, right? So you can really play with this. You can put an image in the background. You can repeat the background image. But remember, it's behind this white, so it's where the green is. That's where your background image is going to appear. You can position it. You can change the background size. You can change the background transparency. And content area of the background. So if I want this, again, I could do this purple instead of white, right? So I can play with that. So if I just do this green, it just looks, everything looks green. And it just looks different. You can define your fonts. The fonts here are a bit limited, which is kind of a shame, but I'm guessing that this will improve over time. There are a lot of fonts here, so you'll probably find a font that's similar to what you want, and you can always add an HTML box, like custom HTML, so that you can use your own. And then show section titles, that's payment information and customer data, which, there you go, I just hit that. So this is how you set up your page. And then success page. This is the page that they get, the thank you page for purchasing. Again, I probably don't have to say this because you probably know this, but the more your success page is comforting to the client, the better chance that they'll feel good about their purchase and won't have that regret that a lot of clients have when they buy a product. So again, page background, content area background. You basically have full control over what this looks like. And then again, you can add all these elements, just add a testimonial here. Our default was to download the invoice, so this would be the invoice, and then contact support, this would be the URL for support. But one of the things that we can do is we can define that it goes to a different page. So it doesn't actually get to this page. Before, when we were defining the product, we could define, oh, just take them to a different URL, and it takes them to a different URL, and that's what they get. And that URL, you can have that URL expire or not expire. So you have 24 hours to download this, and that's the link, right? So that's the beauty of it. Let's just do next. We're not going to really edit anything here today. So that was our design. So under tracking, if you use custom HTML here, you can actually add not just custom code, which is great, but you could also add CSS here. And adding CSS here, which is basically you're adding code to a page. So if you're adding this code, you're actually adding style sheets. So you can define your fonts that you can't find elsewhere. You can define them here, which is a really great feature if you want to take your design up another level. If you have active campaign code, tracking code that you want to put on the page, see if anybody, one of your users has visited your landing page, then you have this tracking code, and then you can, through active campaign, send them some sort of message. If they abandoned the cart, they visited, they didn't buy, you know that they're showing interest. You can mark them with more scoring, and that way you know who your warm leads are. Just want to show you from before on fulfillment, if I do send them to a URL, you put the success URL here, and then you have the URL expiration date. So it never expires, 1 day, a week, etc. So now we have our checkout page complete. are designed. So, and I want to define behaviors. These are rules that I wanted to set based on the customer behavior. So, for example, if the main product is purchased, or it's refunded, or it's abandoned, or a payment is declined, right? What happens then? I can use ActiveCampaign, custom HTML, Google Sheets, whatever integrations that you're using. This is where you would put them. And then you can, in ActiveCampaign, for example, add them to a list, remove them to a list, add them to a tag, or add a new tag, add them to an automation, and here you would just select from that list. So we're just going to add them to our master contact list on ActiveCampaign once they purchase. And now you click on Save and Get URL. Oh, did I not provide a success URL? Oh, whoops. So now I click Save and Get URL. This is my product. So copy URL. And let's just paste this and go. So first of all, what you'll notice here is this orange bar at the top that this is in test mode. That means that all payment is done through a sandbox. You're not really doing the payment, but if anybody has this link, they will be able to purchase the product, right? So let's just do this. These are optional, right? So it doesn't really matter. Oops. And just do. Now when I click complete order, it will show me the page. This is a splash page for PayPal. And basically this is what my client would see. Example, PayPal checkout. This is all grayed out. You're not really doing anything. And you can see if your product was in live mode, they would have to log into PayPal, complete the purchase, etc. And now it's going to load the success page. So again, depending on where I take them to, we're just giving it to the second page, which is, you know, hey, this is what you've bought, $29, test product, and the buttons that we didn't change before. The next thing I want to show you is coupons. So let's say you want to sell your, let's say you want to sell your product, but you want to give coupons. So under coupons, I only have one coupon right now that I have, but this is, let's create a new coupon. So you basically give your coupon a code. You give it a name. This is for yourself. You can enable it. You can give it percentage or fixed price or free shipping. Where is it used? Is it redeemable immediately or only from a set date? You can give it an expiration date. This is for affiliates, which we're not going to talk about. And you can also give it only for the first 10 people, right? So first 10 people to buy get $10 off. There you go. And I go 10 people. So this coupon is limited to 10 people, which is really, really great. Products, you can only define it for a specific product. And behavior, you can define targeted rules. So you want to add the name to a Google sheet, to an Excel sheet. Every time somebody buys this product and uses the discount, you want to know who used the coupon. And that gives you a running list of who used the coupon. It's just an example. Or if they use the coupon, you can send them an email. You can trigger it to automatically send an email through ActiveCampaign or whatever ESP you're using and say, hey, we saw that you managed to be one of the first 10. Congratulations, right? Or the first 10 that buy it and use the coupon get a special extra offer, right? So this is where you would do it. Now the coupons are basically for, oh, I didn't put my coupon code. The coupons are basically really great and they are available on the regular plan. but affiliates are not. Affiliates are only available for an upgraded pro account. So how can you actually get around that? The best way to get around that, if you really don't want to upgrade, it's not a huge upgrade. The beauty of ThriveCart is, at least currently, it's a one-time payment of just under $500 for the regular account and then another extra $190 for the pro account, which gives you a lot of added value. But not everybody needs that. So if you want to create a semi-affiliate type program account, what you can do is you can duplicate this, but give it a new URL, right? So it would be test product, and then I duplicated it and I do test product for affiliate number 1, and the URL would be a little bit different. And then you can track who bought from where. And the tracking here is really, really great. You get a lot of data for who bought it, when they bought it, and how they bought it. See the stats for each of these. Let's go to stats for here. Well, currently there are no stats, but this is in test. So we see I had 2 cart views, 1 cart bounces because I left in the middle, and then 1 order. And conversion rate was 50%. No coupon. This is a snapshot. So you get a lot of stats on every one of your pages. You can also get a URL for the coupons. I think I didn't show you this before, but you can get a specific URL for the coupon, so you can automatically have the coupon embedded within your product when they're buying it. And so this gives you more control over what your clients have to do. You could actually have your customers not have to enter a coupon. And you can create a funnel. So this is great. You have, enable. What happens when they purchase? So they go URLs to purchase, add to membership site, use custom script. Do you want to have a refund or chargeback confirmation step? This reduces chargebacks. Again, so what are we doing? What are we selling them? What are we offering them? Do we want to downsell? So I have different options here. And then each one of these, you can edit their page. This takes you to the checkout editor. And you can really build an entire funnel for your clients here. And that's the beauty of ThriveCart. It gives you a lot of control, very easy to do, really highly recommended tool.
Before I go, I want to show you one more thing. I want to show you how to create integrations, or at least what integrations are available. So if I go to settings and then I click on integrations, what I'll see is I'll see the entire list of options that ThriveCart has. You have Stripe and PayPal. These are my payment processing. You have different email service providers. This is Aweber and ConvertKit and Drip. And oh, this is new. I didn't see this yet even. And you have MailChimp and Infusionsoft and HubSpot and MailerLite. You can also see the different member integrations that you have, Digital Pass and Lifter LMS and Optimize Member. Teachable, like I said, Thinkific isn't here yet, but it is coming. And these are all a lot of WordPress options that you can integrate with. So the list here is really great. Obviously, Shopify and Slack and Zapier. And these integrations basically mean that you have more control over what your customer sees and how things will look.
If I had to summarize, I'd say that this tool is one that gives you control over your customer experience. And that's really important in this day and age. You can define what your customer sees, when they see it, what integrations you have, and what the funnel is. So, I think that's pretty worth it. And it's a big expense, yeah, but it's a one-time expense and there are no recurring costs. So I'll put a link in the description, and if you have any questions or comments, leave in the comments below.